in this tutorial, I'm going to share with you the very basic steps on how to edit your videos using this software in a very easy format. I will show you the step-by-step process on how we can go about the editing process. All you need is just to open your browser anywhere and just type in Google, and you can go ahead and type in the Google OpenShot Video Editor, just like so, and you can just hit enter and you find the first one over here, openshot.org. This is the website where you can get this very software. So it's free, open, and award-winning software. You can just click on this and it's going to welcome you to this very platform. Create stunning videos with this very software. So it's available for Windows operating system, for Mac operating system. Anyone you have, you can go with it directly. And even it's available for Linux operating system, and you can still work with it within Chrome. You can still work with it. So it's very easy. Once you are in this website, you can come all the way to this download over here. It's going to categorically analyze and tell you what kind of operating system you're working with. And with just this simple click, you're going to download it. The installation process is also step-by-step process. It's just click through. So you just follow the process and install, and I'll meet you at the other side. Now, once you finish the installation, all you need is to open your Launchpad, and you can see it over here, OpenShot Video Editor. You can just click on it to kickstart your project, and you'll be welcome to this very platform. So in brief, let me just show you through the different components or sections of the overview of the platform. So the first thing you see here is you can open an existing project, or you can create a new project with this very icon over here, or you can open an existing project if you have any saved within your computer. And over here, you can save a project using this feature. You can undo or redo a given action within OpenShot. And over here with this plus sign, you can import different kind of media files and store them here in the project bin. So this is the choose profile. You can choose profile. Profile simply means the settings that you're going to use for your particular video. I will show you how to choose the profile and how to create a project from scratch. This one enables you to view the full screen of the software, and this is for rendering process, which I will show you later on. Now, this is the project file bin where you dump all your project files or documents that you need to do your editing, and it comes in easily classified in video, audio, and images. They are all classified automatically as you upload them. Then over here we have the video preview. This is the canvas where you will see all the editing feature or the editings that you are working on from the timeline. Now down here we have the timeline. This is where you dump in all the media and do all sort of cutting and joining and all sort of adding different kind of graphics and effects. This is where you do all the editings. It's called the timeline. Now we have the property panel over here by the left. When you select a particular clip, this is where you see its properties, and you can play around with the properties accordingly also. But this is the property panel. I'll show you in detail how to use it. Now down here we have other features like transitions, which you have multiple of them. You can just select and drag and drop to your timeline. It's as easy as that. We have different kind of effects depending on what kind of effects you are looking out for. You can click, drag and drop, and you can edit accordingly. Now next is we have a list of emojis that you can easily attach to your video as however you want it, depending on the message or story you are trying to create. You can easily drag and drop a particular emoji to give some touch to your work, some professional touch to your work. Now down here you have the option to create another track, because by default the number of tracks you have in the timeline is 5 tracks. You can see track 1 to 5. But if you needed to add any track, you can just come over here and use this plus sign to add a particular track. And this is the snapping tool. You can enable this to snap between the clips. And then this is the razor tool. You can use it to cut between clips. And this is the marker tool. You can easily use it to add marker to your editing process. And you can move between key points from this. This also is the center of timeline of playhead. When you enable this, you'll be able to see the time center of any clip you are working with. And this one over here is just gives you the opportunity to zoom in and out of your clips within the playlist. So without taking much of our time, let's get to the first step or the first process of importing media. So how can we import a media? Assuming I have my media already arranged in this file. This is in document, this is in desktop. I have this media, I have a video, I have images, and I have audio clips. So all you need, you can come to this plot sign, click on this plus sign and navigate to wherever you have those media. Like my own case, I have them here. I can just select all of them and I can click on open over here to import all of them into the project bin. And you can see it has imported all of them in the project bin. So this is show all. But if you want to see them separately, I can go to video and I will see all the videos that I have. I could go to audio and I will see all the audios that I just imported. And I can go to images and I will see all the images. These are automatically classified. Now you can search, you can filter also from accordingly from what you have, but it's better to stay at the show all so you can just easily work with it directly. Now the next thing is how can we drag and drop the media into our timeline and do some very basic editings. So we can drag and drop just like so. We can just drag and drop it on any timeline, and once you drag and drop any clip, you should note that you have the property of that clip selected shown at the property panel over here. You can drag and drop another video. You can drag and drop here, and you can drag and drop this one also. You can put it at the top if you want, and you can readjust accordingly. Any clip you select, you'll be able to see its property over here. Now the next thing that you can do is you can drag and drop also the audio. You can see you can drag and drop audio into our timeline, and you'll be able to see the properties. You can come to audio and right click and say the display. You can say show waveform, and it will be able to show the waveform of this particular audio that we've just imported. So now that we have imported the media, we can import images also the same way. You can just drag and drop them within the timeline. So now that we have imported everything, the next thing is how can we do some very basic editings within OpenShot. Now to edit clips is very easy as with other video editing software. All you need is just to select the particular clip. You can move the playhead by just clicking anywhere at the top of the timeline. So you can see you can move the playhead to any position. And for you to create a cut, all you need is to make sure you select, you position the playhead at that particular point, and you press on letter S, and it's going to cut that particular clip. If you want to cut across, you can still click on letter S to cut across throughout the timeline. So you can cut from here, and you can see this clip has been subdivided into two. You can come over here as well, and you can create another cut with the letter S. You can see you've now divided into two, or split it into two. And you can move the components as well to any position of your choice. You can just drag and drop and move them accordingly. Now, another way to edit, you can trim a particular clip by selecting it. You can come to the edge of it over here until the cursor turns to this horizontal icon, and you can just use it to drag, and you can see you are trimming the edges from the left. You can do the same also from the right by just dragging and moving across. You can see you've trimmed it from the right. Now, one good side of trimming is that it's reversible. If you want to reverse it, you can just go to the same point and you can click and reverse it to the same point. So it's as easy as that. You can do the same also on the other side. You can just easily reverse it to the original point. So this is about editing. If you want to have access to play around with the features, okay, the different features or the different properties, you can come over here. This is the video. You can come. You have the alpha feature. If you want to play around with the lightening part of it, okay, you can play around with the opacity. Okay, so you can see opacity can be increased or decreased from the alpha. You have the channel filter if you want to play around with, but the most important feature over here is, for example, the position. You can move it along x-axis just like so, okay, by just selecting and moving across. Along y-axis also you can move it across just like so. And you can do that for any clip that you have within the timeline. And you can see the origin is X, and you can move it across around the origin. Okay, if you want to move the anchor point, you can move it also accordingly within the X and Y axis. You can play around with the anchor point. So that's going to help you during the changing or rotation of this particular footage that you've selected. So you can come to the position. If you want to rotate, of course, it's going to rotate around the anchor point that we've just specified. So you can see it's very easy. So let's undo this. So you can see that we can scale this to any point. Right now it's at 1.0. You can scale it on the x-axis. You can see we are scaling on the x-axis up to maybe 1, and you can scale it on the y-axis as well to 1 as you so wish. So just feel free to, and you can scale it on the x-axis directly the other way. You can share on the x-axis if you're interested. You can share on the y-axis also. Have the volume control if you want to increase or decrease the volume of this particular clip. You can select if there is a volume attached, if there is an audio attached to it. you can play around with its feature also over here. So it's very easy. You can just access the properties and play with them accordingly as you so wish. Just go ahead and give them a try. Now the next thing is I would like to show you how to add in b-rolls. So it's important to know that any clip that you have on top of a particular clip, that clip is going to appear in front of the clip that you have below it. So that's the normal arrangement. So if you are playing this clip and it comes in here, it's going to enter this. This is going to serve as a b-roll. You can play around with this one as well on its own. You can select it and you can play around with its properties over here, especially the scaling. You can scale to best fit, okay, if you so wish. Selecting, you can scale down and you can scale it up also the same way. So it's all boils down to you, or manually you can come over here to the edges, you can drag and you can see you can scale it and you can move it across to any position of your choice. Now this is about creating a b-roll. You can do that with even a video, not only an audio. You can drag and drop the video to any location of your choice and you can see that it's going to play that as a layer that is above the video below. So it's very easy. You can just come over here and play and you will see a preview of what I'm talking about. It's going to be at the top of this video, and then this is going to enter this small video, and then it's going to move. As it moves, it's now going to get to the other one. Now the next thing I want to show you is how to add text or titles in general on your video clip. So all you need is to come over at the top over here and you can see titles. You can just go ahead and click on title over here. And you can see a range of them, different kind of titles that you can easily use. You can select on any and you see the properties. By mere selection, you'll be able to see the properties and what that particular title is bound to do. Okay, so you can see this one, it says the title, and then this is right up. You can come over here and customize it directly. Welcome to my channel, for example. And you can change the subtitle if you want. So you can change the subtitle to, let's say, please remember to subscribe. So let's say this is what we write and you can see it's now taking effect. You can play around with the font. You can click on this and you can now edit the font. You have the option to edit the font style. So these are the different fonts. These are different collections of fonts. English, you can have the family, different kind of fonts, Arial, black, and you can check the typeface. You want to make it italic, you want to make it bold, you want to make a regular or bold italic, you can do that also from here. And you can play around with the sizing as well. You can make it from 81, you can make it 50, or you can make it 70 or thereabout. You can change anything accordingly and you can manually increase or decrease it accordingly, just like so. And once you're done with all this, you can come over and you want to play with the coloration also, you can by selecting this and you can move around and change the coloration accordingly. You can see you just navigate across and select anything. I think I'd rather go with white here because of or yellow. I think it's going to make a lot of sense. And I select this, say okay to this. And once I say okay, you'll see that it's going to take that effect on the text that we've just added. So the next thing is background color. You can change the background color if you're interested. Assuming you want something like a blue directly, you can select. And you can see it's going to take that effect once we select. So the text color, we can change it by just selecting this, and we can select something like pure white. Something like white is going to do something like white is good. So we can see that it's going to take that effect also. All right, so you can use advanced editor. The text has been enabled to the white color that we've just selected. Now once you're done with it, the file name is title name number 1. You just name this. Okay, so once you say save to this, it's going to add this as a text or as a title to your own brand that you can easily access. So you can see right now it has added it to as a text. You can see now that you've created a text and it's here. So once you want to have access to it, you want to add a text, you can just drag this and drop it somewhere. So you can see we've just dragged it and drop it. And we move the playhead across that place, you're going to see it's going to have that same effect that we've just added. So this is basically how to add a title, and you can move it across to any place, and you can also resize it to fit in the exact location and timing that you want it to fill up. So you can see it comes in with this transparent background, which makes it a bit attractive and very, very nice. So if you are not certain with the coloration, you can always double click to have the effects enabled, and you can go ahead and play with it also. I can play around with the opacity also from here. Okay, if you want to edit, you can just go ahead, right click and say edit title, and it's going to bring you back to this place, and you can just go ahead and edit the title accordingly, especially the text color that you are interested in changing. You can always edit and change the color just like so by just selecting on text color, and you can select another one. For example, we may want something like blue and say okay to this, and now we can save this, and once we save, it's going to update on the main canvas that we have. So you can see it's been updated. Now the next thing I want to show you is how to add transitions and effects. So let's say for transition, I have these two clips, okay, this first one and this second one, and I join them together, and I want them to have a transition in between. So to add a transition, you come over here and you can see different kind of transitions. I can add the cut in cycle, or let's say I want to add the fade in. All you need is just to drag and drop it across the clip, okay? So you can resize it accordingly. You can resize it to fit in the position that you want. You can see you can just resize it very easily. This is the one way of doing it. Another way is you can select the transition, and you can come to the transition properties over here, and you can define the length, okay, the duration of the transition. And this is the contrast and brightness. And you can define the position. You can move it across. You can manually define the position that you want it to fill. Assuming I want it to stay over here. So with this selector, you can just move across to find a specific position for it. Okay, so assuming I want it here, and you can just go ahead and you can define the start and finish point with these properties, so you can be able to define everything that you need. So this is the point I want it to work. So if I move the playhead to this point and I try to play my video, let's see how the transition is going to happen. And you can see the transition. Okay, I think this is perfect. This is one way. So once you come over here, you play it, it's going to show in the reverse direction, so you can see very perfectly. So it's just as easy as that. You can add any transition. We have multiple transitions that you can easily select and drag and paste at any location of your choice. So this is about transition. Let's see how we can add other effects as well. So come to effects, and you can see different kind of effects that we can add. For example, you can take in this brightness and just drag and drop it, and we can see we've added an effect with this. We've just added an effect. Now to have the properties of that effect also, you can select on the effect. You can just touch the effect and you can see the properties of that effect, brightness and contrast. Now the brightness of this, you can edit it. As you just move across this, you can see you can edit from the effects that we've just added. Can play around with the contrast brightness, and we can also increase the contrast with this or decrease accordingly. Okay, I think we have to increase the brightness a bit more and then the contrast a bit more, so it looks better. So this is how to add in different kind of effects, and you play around with its properties. So you can equally add color shift here, and once you add, you can just select the effect and you'll be able to play around with the alpha shift, green shift, as well as blue shift, as you so wish. You can play around with the features accordingly. Now if you want to delete any kind of effect that you've added, all you need is just to select it and right click, and you can see remove effect, and it's going to remove that effect directly, just like so. Now the next thing is I want to show you how to add emojis to your video clips. Assuming we have this emoji, you can just select any of them and we can just drag and drop it anywhere. So once you drag and drop, you see now this one is below the text. You can just move here, and I can just drag it and put it at the top here and resize it so it fills up just this place. Assuming I want to move this, and I can bring in this emoji to this point. I can manually bring in the playhead so I'll be able to see the emoji. Now this is the emoji. Now this is the emoji I'm talking about. You can play around with its properties also by selecting. You can play around with its properties like the scaling. You can scale it to fit manually, automatically, or you can come down to the canvas, come to the edges, and you can just resize it accordingly, and you can drag and drop it to any location of your choice. You can see we can position it anywhere we want within the video. So the next thing is we can try to see how we can play around with the audio. I've shown you how to import the audio from the project file. These are the audios that we have. You can easily select the audio and you will have the audio properties enabled over here. Now you can go ahead and split audios accordingly, just like the way we've split any other media. All you need is just to have the playhead at that particular location that you want to split, and it's going to split the audio just like so. You can play around with the volume effect as well. You can select on any of the clips and you can come over here to play around with the volume. So you can see the volume down here. This is at 1. You can play around with it to reduce the volume, but you can always play, and you can see now from the waveform that the volume has been drastically reduced. You can try to play a preview and see for yourself what kind of effect it's going to have on your video. So you can see now that the volume is not so high, so we can just try to see how we can increase it a bit. You can go ahead and play around with the volume accordingly. You can just play around with it with all its features over here, even the location, and you can put in the tracks. Now you have to know that the position of the track, you can add any track using this one, or you can add it manually by coming to this small arrow and you can click. You can add track and above, you can add track below. You can remove a particular track, or you can lock a particular track against any kind of editing. And you can remove a track also directly if you're interested. The last thing that I want to show you after you are done editing the video, maybe you like what you see, you have done all the cutting and joining, all the adjustments you have done, and you're done, you finished. You like it, you like the editing that you've done completely, and you're trying to move across and you want to export your video. All you need is to come over here and click on export. But before we go to export, you can choose the profile. So by selecting the profile, you'll just be able to select what kind of profile. This is HD 720p and 30 frame rate per second, which is not my best. My best is full HD. You can see it over here, full HD vertical. This is 9:16 and I want 16:9. So we can just go on and check and check and check. But what I want is full HD. So what I want is full HD 1920x1080. This is it, 1920x1080, and it's 30 frame rate per second. This is my choice, and you can just select directly and say okay to this. And it's going to take in that particular profile that you selected. The next thing is, one last thing that I want to show you is you can change the view of the entire video by just coming to view over here. If everything got stuck or got scattered, you are interested in changing some things, changing the view, you can always come to the view, and you can go to view here and you can see a simple view, and it's going to take you back to this view. But if you don't want this view also, you can come to views, you can go to advanced view, and it's going to bring you back to this normal view that we have. And this is the view that we're talking about. At any given point, if you are not interested or if you are not certain with what you have, you can always come back to a simple view. Come back to simple view, and you can now go ahead and continue with your editings directly. So you can see this is the simple view, and if you want to enable the properties, you can still select properties, and you are now back to showing the properties and working with them directly. The next thing you need to do is to save the video. You can come all the way to file and click on save project, and you can just go ahead and give it a name. This is, we can say, video editing 1, and you can define the location from here wherever you have it within your system. You can click here to see clearly. So you can come to desktop, and in my own case is OpenShot tutorial. You can save it here, and right now it has saved this file for us. So the last thing is, if you're certain with what you have, you can just go ahead and click on render, and it's going to render this video with these properties. So the properties you need to select are file name, which we have defined earlier, file location, the path that we want to save it, which we have defined also at the beginning. And then we have the simple properties like the profile format, which we have defined. We have defined all formats defined. So it's going to be H.264 MP4 format. If you don't want this, you can select and choose another format also that you want. But let's keep it at this. And it's going to be full HD like we've defined, 1920x1080 from the profile that we've defined. The quality is going to be high quality. And you can see now you can go to advanced features if you're interested. You can see start and end time, end frame, and you can see the different export, what we are going to export. If you want to export audio only, or if you want to export video only, or if you want to export both of them, you can select accordingly. Then you can choose between the profile that which we have defined. You don't need to check anything over here. I usually don't touch anything here except if I want to export audio only. Okay, so once you have the basic settings, the simple settings enabled, you can just come over here and say export video, and it's going to start exporting your video directly. So once you just give some seconds to start exporting, because you can see the progress about down here. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a bit about how to use OpenShot Video Editor, a very simple open source video editor that you can use to edit your videos professionally. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.